in different weeks and of the month and different days and what have you as it catches on. And if the model works well, we also hope we might be able to provide a little guidance for other towns to do the same kind of thing. But there's so much that can come out of such an alliance, because one thing, you can get the word out more, and that's a good thing, not just for trying to build community, but also, once again, what I mentioned, there's real need out there. And as we went across the country and I would talk to, let's say, this community meals program or that, the story was very similar in that, well, we thought there was 50, but there was 500. It's always, the need is always tenfold of what you realize out there. Because people don't want to talk about it, you know, that they're in need.
Yeah, people have their pride and they want to try their best to get through it on their own.
Right.
But we all do better when we lean on each other.
Right. And in fact, that's my favorite quote from the whole journey came from Leadville, Colorado. And I spoke to the community meals director there in Leadville, Colorado. And she said the goal of their program was to, quote, confuse who is giving and who is receiving, unquote. Confuse who is giving and who is receiving. And the idea, they did that, it was direct intention. They would ask people from all walks of life to be involved in preparing the meals. The less fortunate, the more fortunate. And they would get people from all walks of life involved in coming to the meals. The mayor came to these meals. There were like four lunches a week. Faculty from the local college came to that meals and what have you. And then there was a stipulation that if you prepared the meals, you also had to sit down and eat with those who came for the meals. And so it was really everyone bringing, it was a spirit of oneness, and that's one of the virtues that I mentioned as well. It really promoted a spirit of oneness. We're all in this together. We're breaking bread together. We're confusing who is giving and who is receiving. And so when you have that kind of objective, that is a true community program. I mean, that's when you know you've made it. When you can confuse who is giving and who is receiving.
That's excellent. So how can people get involved in this first community dinner on the 20th?
Oh, well, this first one, we're making it even easier for people to all do their part. It's going to be a potluck, potluck supper. Unfortunately, potlucks have been on the decline all throughout America, that old, and fortunately for us, as we went across the country, we made it known that, potlucks are where it's at. So we got to experience quite a few of them, but they are on the decline. But, on Friday, September 20th, 6:30 at the Norfolk Church, come. It doesn't matter if you're from Norfolk or what have you, because, we saw that as well, that different towns were kind of collaborating together, not just different organizations within a town, but different towns would collaborate together. So even if you're not from Norfolk, come on down. Afterwards, actually, I'm going to give a multimedia presentation of the walk across the country and featuring the 5 virtues that are behind this Community Alliance and Community Meals program. And like I said, hopefully we can make things catch on.
Excellent. So people don't need to pre-register?
Oh, no.
They just show up and bring food if they can?
Yeah. And if you can't bring food, that's okay too.
Yeah.
There'll be things to, you can always lend a hand with setup or clean up, or, in the future, maybe you can't contribute something this time, but the next time you can contribute. That's another thing about the community thing, and it goes with the oneness. There are expectations. There's not demands, but there are expectations that, if you're really building community, you do expect everyone to contribute in the way that they can. In the way the economy is now, everyone can contribute in some kind of material way. But whether it's even if it's bringing good cheer, and not complaining about anything. Everyone is expected to contribute in some way, and that also is one of the key community virtues that makes something work well.
And so you mentioned it's an alliance. So what are like the roles of the organizations? Obviously, people come and people bring food, but what kind of roles do these allied organizations play in the community dinner?
Oh, there's a representative from each, and together we form, at this point, a steering committee. I mean,
Okay.
the first event is September.
Sure.
So, and it's a potluck supper. So it's not like there's massive logistics
Right.
at this point. You know, now if this is a springboard for other things like providing transportation to those in need or providing informational guidance, you know, a couple of things that sometimes is needed in the town for those in need. Maybe we'll have to be talking more about infrastructure and going beyond, you know, a steering committee kind of thing. But yeah, right now it's not too complicated.
Well, that's usually the best way to go.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. Well, that's obviously going to keep you busy, but I can tell that you've got other things on the horizon because you never sit for too long. So what's looking out a bit in the future? What else do you have planned?
Well, you know one of the things I have planned. I'm not sure I want to broadcast it on TV yet, but I am thinking about walking around the world and following human migration patterns back in time. So starting in Tierra del Fuego and going towards Africa. Non-motorized travel, obviously I won't be walking across the ocean. But by retracing human migration patterns back in time, I also intend to sort of have a pilgrimage in terms of retracing the roots of human kindness and community all along the way.
Oh, that's excellent. Well, it sounds like you're still working on that, so I don't want to push you too much on that.
No, yeah.
But thanks for kind of teasing us a little with what you're working on.
It would only be a few months at a time. I'm not going to be doing, you know, all my other hikes have been what you call end to end. You start and you keep going until you get to the end, no matter how long the distance is. Well, I'm finally going to break from that with this one. It'll be a few months at a time.
Yeah, I think that would take just a wee bit longer going all the way around.
Yeah, well, because there's more than one migration pattern too. So
Sure.
there's one main one, you know, going from South America up through North America, and then over to Bering Strait, and then towards Africa. But there's like another one that from Oceania, you know, Australia and what have you, and going back towards Africa. So there's multiple paths, and I plan to do a few of them. So it's going to take a long
Sure.
time.
Now, is your wife going to join you on those as well?
That's a negotiation. You know, we'll see. We'll do whatever. The hike that we did across the country worked wonders for her. She was at a time in which she needed to kind of reboot her life and have less stress, and that worked wonders for her. But we'll see whether she thinks this one will work wonders for her or not. You know, we'll just have to gauge it in terms of, you know, what's best for her.
Excellent. So what else is keeping you busy? What types of things are you looking to do and expand and bring to the community?
Well, you know, I'm involved in Champs, of course, and one thing we hope to do with Champs. I'm going to be last year I worked with a young, you know, kindergarten to third grade. This year the idea is I'll be working with fifth and sixth graders. And
Champs is the after school program.
Right.
It's a partnership between the Y and the schools and the PTA and Winston Area Child Care and the library and I'm missing
it's its own alliance.
And the
alliance
Family Resource
itself.
Center. It is, yes.
Yep.
It's the Winchester After School Alliance.
Yep.
Yes, and it's been a wonderful project. We had Ruth Ann on here, you know, back in the spring talking about a lot of those programs.
Right, it's another shining example of what an alliance can do.
And we just got news today that the grant for this year just got approved for
Right.
Champs. So
Right.
we're looking forward to the program continuing.
Right. And because of that, I'll be working with fifth and sixth graders, and what I'll be working with them on is talking with members of the community about things like kindness and community, teaching them how to do a podcast, teaching them, maybe we'll even have them come here at some point, but teaching them how to do podcasts and how to do blogs and things like that, with the themes of kindness and community being things that they work on. But use that around the ideas of teaching them to interview people, of teaching them to create a video podcast, teaching them how to blog on a website, those kind of things.
Like, all valuable skills.
Yep.
I'm sure they'll enjoy. I'm sure they'll take to it quickly as well.
Yeah. Well, once it gets towards computers and internet and stuff, I may be the student. We'll see on that.
And let's kind of go all the way back to your roots. Now, you mentioned you were a teacher, so tell us a little bit about how you even got to this place in life.
Well, I don't know. Life took some funny turns, I guess. Which I thought I was going to be a teacher for a career. And I was a teacher at Housatonic Regional High School. I was a teacher at Cornell for a while. And all throughout, I've been a teacher in one way or another, now Champs. And it just but I've never been any place for decades. It's just I've done a little bit of this, I've done a little bit of that. What I'm most excited about, I guess, is all the alternative kinds of ways that I've been involved in education. For example, I've done courses where I would take people out to hike the Long Trail and study Frost poetry, and they got interdisciplinary high school credit, or they got interdisciplinary college credit related to English and field ecology, based around long distance hiking. So I've done a few programs like that. And also for a short time I was the founder of a nonprofit that got together people from family disadvantaged homes, single parent homes, basically, along with young adults to go on long, 5-week wilderness journeys. And that's always an education, experiential education. So, yeah, it seems I've always been involved in one way or another somehow in teaching and educating.
Well, we're certainly glad that your travels took you here to Norfolk and our community and our programs, our Champs and the camp and all this great stuff and these community dinners. So good luck on all of it, and we look forward to participating and hopefully supporting however we can. And I appreciate you joining me today.
Oh, thank you, Jay.
Thank you so much, Kirk.
Yep.
And I want to thank everyone else for joining us today. But before we go, I just want to mention a few things that are upcoming, other things that you can put on your calendar besides the potluck dinner. On September 18th, at the Y from 6:30 to 8:30, that Wednesday night, we're going to be hosting the first probably annual Moon Festival, the Harvest Moon Festival. And the goal and purpose of that is to welcome the new international students at the Gilbert School who have just started as part of the inaugural year of their international